All right, hey, welcome everyone. This is JB and JC from FFL Consultants. Another Ask Us Anything event. Thanks for joining us. Already May 2025, kind of crazy. We've got lots of good stuff for you today, and I think we're ready to go. Again, Ask Us Anything stuff that we are providing to you based on support from our trade association, the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Again, we do this for you, and they love the fact that we are keeping you guys healthy and in business and compliant. If you're new to Ask Us Anything, JB and JC were co-founders. We're the guys who answer the phone, answer your questions, do the educational seminars around the country. We're going to get into that in a little bit. We answer phone, real-time phone calls. No answer machine. One of us will always answer your compliance challenge and get you the right answer fast. We call it real answers fast, and never worry about an answer machine. All right, we'll put that information up at the end again so you can have our contact information. But hey, what do we got in store for you today in May? We've got breaking news. We haven't done this in a while, but so much comes across the internet so fast. We're not sure you guys are catching it all. We try to catch the important stuff. We'll deliver some of that to you. JC will go over the new ATF enforcement process as we know it. It's still kind of in development. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Give you 5 smart things you should do as a gun dealer. Give you those legal updates, which are scaring the heck out of a lot of us in certain states. But everything you need to know to go ahead and transfer guns correctly, whether it be in store or online. We'll give you some true or false fun. We like doing that. And lastly, the most famous Ask Us Anything session where you get to ask your questions. Type those into the chat room as we go. We will be answering those in order at the end of our educational session. So again, thank you for joining us. Hi to everybody. Love the fact that all you guys are here from all over the country. So we're going to go. And hello, Rob's Guns. Well, I haven't been down there in a while, but all types of fun people. Anyway, love talking to you and love seeing you again. So here we go. Let's give you some breaking news. Again, if you have questions about any of this information, just drop a question in the chat as we go. We want to make sure you're educated with the right knowledge as you leave our webinar. So off of routers, how do you say that? I say routers. This month, May 2nd, there was a big publication on the beautiful new bill and the budget that the Trump administration is trying to put in place. And very specifically, there's $400 million cut out of the DOJ, more specifically cut out of the ATF funding. So they're down to 1.2625 billion. And what is 400 million going to do to that? Well, they want Trump really just simply wants the ATF and to go after targeting illegal firearms traffickers, which are fueling violent crime, that supply resources at state and local governments to track down traffickers, gang members. As we know, we keep hearing about MS-13, and TDA, but yes, the money can be well spent there versus going after gun dealers for making errors and mistakes that are just part of our training program and human error. We all understand that. They understand that. Pam Bondi understands it. So they're specifically calling for a roughly $1.2 billion budget for ATF. So that, again, 400 million reduction. Well, how does that impact field operations? How does it impact inspections? How does it impact all of the office and administration stuff and operations that really support what we're most worried about is the inspection process? But hey, we have to remain compliant. So as an industry, if we can promise and commit to remaining compliant and inspection results continue to improve, this will have much support and we won't worry so much about more inspections, and less inspections may be okay. So listen, that's a big talk. We hear about it. It's actually in the budget. So just so you know, that is kind of fact. Whether it gets approved or not, or how Congress approves the budget, we're not sure. We will keep you updated on how this impacts you as a gun dealer. What's unconfirmed is something else we read about is over in routers regarding the DEA and ATF maybe merging. That is unconfirmed. We've heard the same thing about the ATF and the FBI merging. Listen, those are all rumors. We don't know anything else about that. Is it possible? Yeah, sure. But is it probable? We don't know. Is it going to happen? We have no idea. I think it all washes out in the end, so we'll just have to stay abreast of this. We'll try to keep you updated on anything we hear, whether it be from inside the ATF or our external news feeds. One thing you do need to know if you're in a blue state, the state governments are coming for you for your gun rights as dealers and as citizens. We all know that. But also on May 2nd, I think this was, Mike Bloomberg announced publicly, oh, April 9th, rather, I'm sorry, about a month ago, publicly announced that he's putting up $10 million to go ahead and put the right people in place in states such as Virginia, Arizona, Georgia, Minnesota, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Those are states where he believes, based on current politics and leadership, that they might have a foothold in starting to impact the Second Amendment rights for both citizens and gun dealers negatively. So we never thought of Arizona as a state where we could have issues maybe on the Second Amendment, but guess what? Here it comes. The same thing with Georgia, Wisconsin. I mean, you guys you're under the gun. So the trick now is to make sure your politics are in place, your customers are voting correctly, and understand that this is an all-out effort on the Republican Party, and it's a political game that we must win. So wherever possible, please promote, especially in these states, please promote Second Amendment rights and the need to vote for the correct leadership. All right, Outdoor Life exec editor Natalie Krebs. If you've never read her information on blogs, her articles, she's pretty righteous as far as Second Amendment. She's a big supporter for everything hunting, fishing, outdoor, um, nature, but is taking a deep dive into the Second Amendment processes that are impacting everything outdoor life is all about. And specifically, she wrote a nice big analytical article about ammunition sales out of nowhere. I mean, we never expected Natalie to be, and we read a lot of her stuff, but I never expected her to be talking about ammunition. But hey, it impacts us all: sports, outdoors, target shooting, hunting, home defense, etc. But here's the deal. Why is it getting more expensive? And it was very enlightening to read through 15, 16 pages of our article, but it was worth it if you get time. Go out to Outdoor Life and pull up a blog. But here's the bottom line: ammo is only going to get more expensive rather, based on all of her analytics and other opinions of folks who have commented into her article as well. It's very credible. Uh, and there's no shortage of ammunition. It's just higher prices. All right. There's falling consumer confidence, there's soft sales based on inflation, federal budget cuts, layoffs, what's happening in our communities, what's happening with the stock market, in nervous Nelly response to tariff discussions. So there's a whole lot of information packed into this article, but they're stating emphatically there's no shortage of raw materials. Okay, that's not the issue. It has nothing to do with a China tariff. There's no threats in that capacity to supply chain. But the bottom line is the cost for components, labor, overhead, all must keep up with inflation. And that's our biggest challenge right now. And there's not much we can do with it. Bottom line was buy, both for dealers, distributors, and consumers. Uh, I looked at the some of the charts she had in for the last 10 years from 2015 to 2025. Ammunition prices, for the most part, have increased anywhere from 25 to 40%, almost half in some calibers and designations, so and manufacturers. So it's ugly out there, and that part of it is not going to get any better. So buy, stock up. Uh, you know, better to have it than not to have it, but we do not, and she does not, and the analytics do not show ammunition prices going lower. JC, did you hear anything on this tariff, the China tariffs? I know we get a lot of raw material.
Actually, yeah, over the weekend, China and the U.S. met in Geneva and have worked out some framework. They've actually reduced tariffs. It's on a 90-day pause, but right now, 115% reduction in tariffs. That means we pay 10% or When we bring it in, 10% is charged to us as far as tariffs. And if we import into China, 10% tariff. So remains to be seen. They're working out the details of it. But for right now, as expected, we have entered in an agreement with China, and things are changing rapidly. So stay tuned for that. This will definitely have some impact on us from a parts and accessories standpoint. So we'll see what comes of it.
All right. JC, what do we know about the new ATF enforcement
Well,
landscape?
we told you last month we were anticipating something to come down, and it finally has. ATF order, administrative order H, is in place. The field divisions have received it. Again, this goes back to similar ATF order D, which was 2019. Um, Again, it brings into play a little bit more leniency and a little bit more capability at the field division level. In other words, the DIOs and the SACs have, skin in the game, and they have decisions they can be making with regard to what actions they take against FFLs. It will still require multiple levels of approval, etc. But now, more or less, they will be required to prove prove willfulness. Whereas with G, and prior to that, what was before G, the zero tolerance policy. What came down there was an FFL would have to prove they weren't willful. Now the ATF is more or less having to prove that you were willful. So again, zero tolerance goes away. You should expect that things will change slightly. Just remember those tools are still out there: warning letters, warning conference, revocation, etc. The only difference now is there's no more zero tolerance, and the proof is in the pudding. In other words, they have to prove that you're willful. Final rules: 08F and 2022 R17F. Those are your stabilizing braces and engaged in the business. Fully anticipate these being just done away with. There's an injunction still, as we all know, on the stabilizing brace thing. Those can be sold as usual. Obviously some states have banned them, but just so everybody is aware, if if you don't already know, which I doubt, stabilizing braces are good to go. But I do anticipate these things eventually just fading into the sunset. So we're anticipating stakeholder engagement at some point. They're still reviewing everything, and they'll be reaching out to the associations and such as the National Shooting Sports Foundation and many others. If you're not a part of these organizations, these guys are the ones that fight the fight every day, and your support is essential to allow them to continue to do those support actions. So, warning letters and conferences. This is something that we harp on FFLs every day. Warning letters and conferences, warning conferences are that initial administrative action. That means that beyond just getting a report of violation, the IOI, in cooperation with their area supervisor and with their director of industry operations, see things occurring in your compliance efforts that are of concern to public safety. And what does that mean? That means a certain percentage of error rates on your A&D, on your Form 4473s, in your record keeping, in your business practices, things you're doing that can cause concern from a public safety standpoint, including NICS related violations like not running a background check, or running a background check when the person didn't fill out the form, or running a background check, additional background checks on the same person, things like that, missing firearms, improper transfers. These are all things, depending on the situation, where public safety is impacted. So you want to make sure that you have compliance programs in place to ensure that you're 100% all the time. The key here is to keep your foot on the gas pedal for compliance. One thing that you need to remember is And we actually have had an FFL recently who kind of brushed off a warning letter. And you have to understand something with warning letters and warning conferences. That's kind of your last stop. That's when the ATF is saying, "Hey, you need to pay attention because you're not doing things right." All right? And keep in mind, revocation's still on the table. That doesn't mean it goes away, just zero tolerance goes away. But if they see performance indicators that tell them you're not taking this seriously and you're not making efforts to get in compliance and to fix the things that they identified previously, you can still face revocation. The revocation program, if you'll call it that, or that administrative action had always been in place. It was always the option for the ATF to take action against your license. The only thing different now is there's zero tolerance. No more zero tolerance, rather. So keep that in mind. You need to be paying attention. You need to stay on that gas pedal. There's no guarantee a Democrat's not going to get back in office. And if a Democrat does get back in office, we know they're going to dust off zero tolerance. We could just expect it. And if that happens, just like the beginning of zero tolerance 4 years ago, they can go back and evaluate your past performance and make a determination if you should be revoked. So don't just brush it off. Take it seriously. These are your results of your compliance efforts. You need to be maintaining this and ensuring on a continual basis that you're not in violation or repeating violations.
Yeah, you keep the pedal to the metal, and yeah, I mean, we summarize this in one simple way. Everything's the same except for zero tolerance. I mean, don't assume anything else, as JC's been explaining, or until we hear what the new rollout actually is in rating and what the go forward is for the IOIs. In the meantime, here's some, we get a lot of good notes from you guys, like after these webinars or off our YouTube replay. A lot of you send us notes or comments. So yes, to see, for those of you who never had a report of violations or haven't gone through an inspection yet, here's what it looks like. All right. So the names have been changed to protect the innocent, but this is very recent. It's February, report of violations, some real mess ups. And hey, is ignorance permissible? But thankfully, this occurred during the Trump administration and not the Biden administration. So this is your standard layout. It's actually Form 55030.5. So there's actually a form that they have to use, just like you guys have to use. It clarifies who the retailer is, the date, and all that, the FFL. But here's all the CFR, Code of Federal Regulations. You guys don't have to get bored with all of this, but there's plenty of them. I don't even know how many JC we deal with, but 478.121, 126A, 124C3I. I mean, you name it. This just gets ugly. Um, but when you have a violation, the IOI is going to list the corrective actions for what they found. And then they're going to identify how many forms were involved, how many 4473s if applicable, and how many instances. And these aren't always the same. If you have a couple violations on the same form, the form number is going to be less than the instance number. That's the type of violation that was noted. And if you notice at the bottom is page 1 of 11. So we're just going to go forward real fast. Here's page 2 of 11. And these numbers 6, 7, 8, 9 just keep going. I think this was 17 total CFR violations. And again, they're putting all types of what they want to deem as corrective actions to remedy your activities going forward and to meet federal requirements. And again, here's the instances. This one at the bottom's interesting. A failure to maintain an accurate, complete, timely, non-licensee disposition record. 24 different entries in the bound book. This is a bound book entry. They had 24 issues with licensee information or non-licensee customer information not being accurate for some reason. Maybe an address is missing or something to that effect. So anyway, this thing can run for pages and pages and pages, and 11 pages is not good, right, JC?
No, no,
So,
no. Not
um,
that many instances either. That just means
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah. I mean, everything on here is important. The number of regulations violated. Yeah, when we see more than 1 or 2 pages, we get very concerned. If you're an NSSF member and part of the premium retail program, we would go ahead and hold your hand through this whole process. If you had a bad inspection, first of all, we hope you don't have a bad inspection, but then we hold your hand through the process, meet with you, meet with the ATF director or whoever you have to meet with, closing conferences. If you run into adverse action resulting in revocation, we're the guys who have to help you remedy, explain, and prevent any of these occurrences from happening in the future. It's the only way you really get through this. And then, as we all know, who are you going to fire, right, JC? We didn't put that in today's presentation, but ATF loves to hear you're going to fire somebody who screwed this all up for you. All right. So anyway, that's just a sample report of violations. If you need more on that, contact me directly, but we hope you don't get those. Hopefully you have an inspection with no report of violations and you go through squeaky clean and don't get in trouble. So JC, what do FFLs need to do now?
The first thing you need to do is go out to our website to the forms and tools page and get that preparing for an ATF inspection checklist that we put out. You need to be ready. You need to know exactly what's coming at you and be prepared to facilitate and support an inspection. Think about it this way. There's nothing more positive than your initial interaction with the IOI that's conducting your inspection than knowing exactly what they expect and what they need in order to do that and to be prepared. Don't be one of these FFLs that all of a sudden the ATF comes walking in the door and you're fumbling trying to figure out how to get your A&D book. That's not the time to be doing that. Now is the time to be doing that. You need to know, whether you write it down, create a checklist, whatever, exactly how you are going to provide them with your records when they show up. You have to know that before. That's key. Being prepared and being responsive to their needs immediately, just it conveys an air of confidence to the IOI that you know what you're doing, that you're ready for them. It's a very positive. Okay. Document everything. Records matter when it comes to what's going on and situations with a specific transfer. If there's something odd about it, then keep some sort of log, keep some sort of journal that you can fall back on. Nobody's going to expect you to remember a transaction from 5 years ago and what the deal was with that transaction. I would love to believe that, but unfortunately, it just doesn't happen that way. You have too much other stuff going on. So make sure that you're documenting everything. If there's situations that you're going to have to reflect on to provide an explanation to, make sure you got that right written down. When they show up, listen to what's being asked and said during the inspection, right? You want to make sure that you're paying attention, because what they're saying to you or asking you could be telling you something as far as how the inspection is going, right? Or that you have certain situations that they've identified that you are going to have to provide a good response to, right? Seek support. That's the narrative here. Reach out to us. Let us know you're being inspected. You can lean on us a little bit. We'll tell you exactly what to do. But again, get that checklist and prepare yourself. Make sure you've got that internal compliance training, internal audits going on, and get that checklist and get ready. Walk through it. Take an hour of your day and just walk through the process. And be prepared and make notes that, this is what I'm going to need to do in order to provide the A&D. Here are my 4473s and what I need to do. For those of you that are using electronic means, either E4473 or e-bound book, whether it's a fastbound or whoever it is, make sure you know how it works. Make sure you know how to get on the PDF file. Make sure that the system is operating as it should be. I will tell you, I don't know how many times we've had inspections where all of a sudden during the inspection we realize that some system that you're using, whether it's a point of sale or whoever, even we have an FFL right now we're supporting through an inspection, and their system is no longer supported. Their system is no longer in business. So it's not even up to compliance because it hasn't changed with the times at all. So make sure, because that is your responsibility, not the provider's responsibility. The ruling specifically states it's the FFL's responsibility. And don't believe this ATF approved. Nothing is ATF approved. It has to follow the rulings. So that's what you should be looking for. Past inspections, make sure you're showing corrective action has been taken and make sure you're paying attention to what those past violations were and that they're not reoccurring. Okay. This training, put your employees, get out on FFLC Academy, get your employees through the training that we provide. It's free. You know, you can't beat free. Get out there and take that quiz and get them knowledgeable and make sure they're refresher training. Make sure new employees are going through it. Make sure every year you're going through it again just to make sure you're not missing anything. All right. Um, and make sure again you know how to access your records and give access when appropriate to the ATF if necessary, if you're storing electronically, etc. And then obviously you always have the opportunity for us to come out and do a mock inspection to really put you through the whole kind of system, how everything works, so you're aware of what to expect.
Yeah, JC, I think you said it, but this going digital, if you're not digital, I mean, you hear us saying we love going, anybody going digital, get rid of the paper, get away from the paper. But we do. The only people who approve anything, I want to say, is us. We work with a lot of the vendors. We see these systems every day, every week. We help some of the vendors prove their workflow, make sure it's all working right so that it does have compliance in mind as it flows through the process. And the ATF likes it too. And they know we talk to you about all of this. So we can spend more time on it later or next month on selecting an electronic vendor. But if you got questions, give us a call. We have a nice email we send you and all of that.
All right. This is not a free pass. Keep that in mind. Again, I said it before. Just because zero tolerance ends today doesn't mean it's not going to rear its ugly head down the road. Go back through your past reports of violations. If you've had a warning letter, you've had a warning conference, you know what? Send it over to us. Let us take a look at it. Let us talk to you about what you did in order to fix this and whether or not that was an effective strategy or not. Be proactive. Don't be reactive. Be ready when the IOI walks through the door so that way you never have anything to be concerned about. That's really the key. We hear it all the time from FFLs that we support. You know, they were ready for an inspection, and it made that inspection that much more positive with the IOI. And they knew they were on their game. They knew that they were prepared and ready, and that impressed them. So don't be reactive. Be proactive.
Yeah. And we're not going to lie to you. I mean, there might be some ATF IOIs listening in right now. So they do watch our videos. They're public. They know you're getting trained. If you're a student, if you're a client, if you're a VIP member, academy student, let them know. Tell them right up front. They know who JB and JC are. We bump into each other all over the country. And tell them you got us, and tell them you are educated and a good student right up front. Don't hide that from them. Get it out in the open, and they're going to take a big sigh of relief and say, "Oh, cool, these guys have gone the extra mile. It should be a good inspection." To JC's point, make it a positive versus a negative. All right, all good. All right, time for 5 smart things. This might be redundant if you've been on our sessions in the past. We're going to kind of tell you over and over and over again the 5 best things you should be doing every month. So, hey, number one, review all your past reports of violations, other inspection results, whether it be us, another third party, someone else. You maybe had a district compliance manager in your store, in your company that runs around and does inspections. Make sure you're making corrections, you're retraining folks, and getting it right the first time when it comes to compliance. Number two, create a formal SOP binder and employee training binder. You should, again, when ATF shows up, they're going to want to know what you've done to try to meet requirements for federal regulations. On-the-job training, we used to call it OTJ, doesn't cut it anymore. Please. We're supported by our trade association, the NSSF, to do some of this training for you. That's why it's free. They have great tools out there as well. If you're an NSSF member, you can go out there and use their online tools as well. But hey, get in there, get trained, and get your certificates printed and filed or saved as PDFs. Create and maintain an ATF communications log. JC, what should I be putting in that log?
You should be putting anytime you talk to law enforcement, to ATF, traces, investigators, agents, any training you go to. If you go to SHOT Show and you attend a webinar on ATF compliance, put it in the book. All of that is very, very useful when it comes to defending your license to show that you're taking extra steps. So anything you do to support public safety, support a criminal investigation, any training that you get, that should all go in your log.
Yeah, and we've seen it time and time again with the ATM. Yeah, when the conversation gets a little sticky with a revocation or a warning conference, pulling that book out and showing that you've really tried to help the public safety of this whole industry, what you do, that could be all positive for you guys. So the log is very important, whether it be a paper log, a computer log, a notebook log, create a log. All right, number four, review Form 4473's twice, 2x, before firearms transfer, and a third time before filing. And hey, big horror story. We're working with somebody, unfortunately, they use cloud storage, which is great, for so many reasons, but they did not have a great process in place to review that 4473 in the cloud, stored on the server, before every firearm transfer, and then more importantly, before it was fired, before it was over, before the gun left the store, or even before the end of the business and the end of the month. They just let it ride. They thought everything in the cloud was great, and lo and behold, they're not doing so well now. We're not sure if they're going to be able to keep that license, but if you have cloud storage or any digital storage of your 4473s, please make sure you check in. And obviously, if it's paper, make sure you get that program in place too. And the ATF does look for your second set of initials in box 32. Okay, we've been preaching that for 20 years. So whoever's looking at that form a second time, take responsibility, put their initial someplace on the form. Everybody used to put it on the top left corner of page one or whatever. Put it in box 32. Your investigators are looking for that program to be in place. Okay. And number five, we've talked about this. We keep talking about go digital. 5A says go digital. If you're still using paper, you don't realize the benefits of going digital. And then 5B, again, with cloud storage, make sure you have a great Form 4473 audit discipline in place if you're in cloud storage. Again, great benefits of cloud storage, but if you got to have that discipline in place to make sure you're checking the form twice before they leave with the firearm. All right. All right. We're going to run through some legal updates. Now, listen, I don't want you to get a headache on this. I'm going to run through at a high level. And if you have specific questions, we ask that you follow up with us, email, phone calls. But it's getting ugly out there, as we've been talking about since January. But let's jump into it. Again, we're going to be looking at some states. And why is this important? Why should you, if you're in Texas, why do you have to worry about Colorado? Because these programs, these laws, these bills, first of all, could be coming to a political party near you. We're worried about that. Like I mentioned earlier, those states like Washington, West Virginia, Arizona, Wisconsin, we never thought those states were at risk, but guess what? They are, Georgia. Colorado's not the worst, but almost the worst now. But we're going to talk about these now where these rules are going into effect. And again, the restricted states guide, and we got some comments already. We're glad we got that out. And we got it in your hands today. But unfortunately, we even have some updates today that came into us from a couple of folks we work with out there. So we're going to be pushing out a revision tomorrow, believe it or not, because there were some changes and updates to what you need to know about all these different states for customers who are either buying from you online, walking into your store when they're vacationing in your area, or buying ammunition from you. So that one's getting big too. The ATF and the states are looking at all these different things now. So here, let's run through Colorado. I'm just going to run through the bills. Again, if you have questions, you could ask them in the chat room. But if it's going to be a long discussion, hey, set time aside with us and we'll get on the phone with you. So House Bill 1353, firearm dealer permits go into effect by July 1. We know with most of our clients, but not everyone in Colorado is listening to these webinars or understanding everything. July 1 means everything has to be in place to continue business as a Colorado firearms dealer. licensing, training, background checks, fingerprinting, security requirements, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot going on. And then our wonderful governor in Colorado signed 25-003, which is the semi-automatic firearms or rapid fire devices bill, which outlaws basically any semi-automatic weapon in the state of Colorado to be sold after August 1st of next year. So we're hearing a ton of you calling us and asking us about why is Colorado customers all buying your guns online, even and having them shipped in? Well, two reasons. One, they're going to be outlawed, and two, there's a tariff. There's an excise tax in Colorado, as you all know. We'll talk about that in just the next bullet point here, but there's there's truckloads of guns flowing into Colorado being bought online because of this excise tax and the ban that's coming up next year. So this year is going to continue to have a lot of activity. So take advantage of it in any way you can. We had the excise tax go into effect in April. It was Bill 1349. And we'll clarify this for a lot of you who are also calling about this, but it's a 6.5% excise tax on firearms, ammunition, and precursor parts for guns that are sold in Colorado. Okay, sold in Colorado, not delivered into Colorado, sold in Colorado, or sold to Colorado residents. If you're out of state and you reach that $20,000 threshold, then you have to start charging the excise tax. You don't charge it now. You don't have to unless you predict that you're going to hit that 20,000 threshold, and only thereafter do you have to start collecting and reporting the tax. But it continues monthly thereafter forever. Even if you have no sales, you have to say no sales. So anyway, there's some detail behind that if you're out of state. But if you're also out of state and shipping into Colorado, there's a lot of confusion right now. Colorado gun dealers don't know or don't understand that they do not include in their state sales for excise tax purposes the guns that are flowing into the state and where the payment is made to a FFL out of state. Okay, so I buy online, I buy from Gun Broker, I buy from John's Gun Barn, I ship it to the customer's local dealer in Colorado. The only thing that's going to happen at that point is a transfer fee for a background check and the process for transacting the inbound transfer. There is no commerce of a retail firearm or ammunition or parts. So if you're from out of state and you're shipping into Colorado and you're getting these dealers saying who's going to charge a tax or why didn't you charge tax and now I have to charge tax, just direct them to us. We'll explain to it that there is no requirement for excise tax out of state until that $20,000 threshold is met by an individual dealer. Okay, you can tell I've been telling a lot of people about that this week and last week. We've been talking about that a lot. Let's move on. All right. Next, Oregon. You guys have ballot measure 114. Long story short, still on hold. Okay, we went over this last month, and until this is actually ratified or approved or moves forward, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. But lots of things in Oregon. If ballot measure 114 is approved, we checked on Friday. It still was not checked. It was not approved. It's in the courts. If that happens, I'm sure there's going to be an enactment or a grace period to get it enacted and implemented by the state agencies that are attached to all of the new requirements of ballot measure 114. And then House Bill 3075, it really just takes measure 114 and injects steroids into it. So lots of other stuff, but we're not going to worry about any of that right now because it's not enacted and not approved for implementation. More House bills in Oregon pending, state licensing, just like we did in Colorado. And then Senate Bill 243, waiting periods and bans on assault weapons, a 72-hour mandatory hold. So again, these are all pending, not approved. We'll keep you updated. But everyone, obviously, who deals with customers from any of these states or selling on Gun Broker or any other online platform needs to understand all of these rules and where the requirements are. All right, over in Washington State, I've been meeting. I was up there a couple weeks ago with one organization had about 80 or 100 gun dealers in there. It was great, very educational, but tons of questions. But here's the deal: if you're watching this in your Washington State, you might want to schedule time with us. Effective July 1st, just like Colorado, you have new security rules, a ton of them. We estimate anywhere between ten and $50,000, depending on the size of your facility, to actually implement all of these upgrades you're going to have if you don't have them. Hopefully, you have some of the information, some of the requirements in place, like a video system, but now you got to add sound. Your video recording has to record 90 days of active activity inside the store and 45 days of outside and all the perimeter entrance windows and doors. You have to have bars and gates, grates or gates and security screens or commercial grade metal doors on all of your exterior entryways. Can't have glass doors without additional protective screening and it's not 3M glass. They didn't even put into here the 3M laminated or laminated glass that you can have on security doors. They didn't even put that into the law, so that doesn't count anymore if you invested in that. So anyway, anybody in Washington State, give us a call. And the big one here is in blue, constant security and restricted access to firearms by the public. The same thing is happening in Colorado. These are just copy and paste scenarios by the liberal politics in these different states, the liberal parties. You can no longer have a gun accessible to a customer or ammunition in any way. Have to be out of reach, secured, glass locked showcases and/or gun racks cabled and secured during daytime hours, and worse thereafter, overnight they have to be in fireproof safes or vaults after hours. Again, they're just trying to put gun dealers out of business. That's our take on it. That's our opinion. We know all of these requirements and regulations are not going to have any great impact on reducing violence in the streets, as we call it. On the safety side, again, Washington has many requirements from additional insurance and reporting to the Attorney General's office, all types of activities. They have 24-hour theft reporting of ammo also, not 48 hours like ATF allows. You have a one-day rule for logging everything into the bound book, not up to 7 days like the ATF allows. And then daily backups of digital records. On the compliance side, see, this thing's go full gambit: security, safety, compliance, monthly inventories. Monthly inventories, and you have to have proof recorded or documented that you conducted those monthly inventories. 4473 storage, all forms have to be in secured containers designed to prevent loss by fire, theft, or flood. Okay, figure that one out. Trace requests have to maintain a log and be filed for 6 years. These are all part of an inspection process that the Attorney General is going to put in place at some point. Okay, this again, effective July 1st. A dealer, and here's the big one, guys, a dealer who violates any of these rules and regulations under 9.41.080, all of you know the RCWs there in Washington State. It's designated as a Class C felony, not a misdemeanor like we normally see in rules such as this. This is scary. Again, make sure you have all this information, get it from us, watch this video again, get the PDF download if you need it, and make sure you have everything in place to move forward legally and in compliance. If things get ugly, if that all happens and they want to keep going, there's a Senate bill, there's a couple of bills, 1163 and 5140 in Washington State again, going after a permit to purchase, and outlawing, again, going after the citizen for getting permit to purchase, active live fire training requirements before you get your permit to purchase. Very crazy scenarios. Again, do your part, get your friends, get your politics in place, get the votes in place. We hope this stuff just ends at some point in time. And hopefully the Supreme Court jumps in here. We have no guarantee of anything happening with the administration, but we hope it ends, and hopefully we get some Department of Justice activity on all of these crazy state regulations. All right. Let's see. Washington State, these are stalled bills. I mean, you can't get any worse than it's already Oh, but they can. They want employees to get trained in addition to background checks and fingerprinting. So that's on the blotter. They also want to make anybody who sells more than 10 guns in a year a licensee. Over in Mexico and Rhode Island, there's no change on the bills we had last month discussed. New Mexico has a semi-automatic firearm ban with detachable magazine on the table, and Rhode Island doing the same thing, trying to outlaw anything called moderns as MSRs, modern sporting rifles, or otherwise known as assault weapons. Wow. All right. So again, those are bad states: Colorado, Washington, Oregon, Rhode Island, um, and others. And you'll see in the restricted states guide that we sent out, because of all this research we're doing, all of the questions we're getting, we have to really expand that form and have it realigned. And our lawyers said, hey, let's make it simpler and to understand, because it was kind of jumbled before. So that restricted states guide is formatted nicely for all of you for quick and easy reference. There's a chart on the front that really lets you get to the decision very quickly with research provided thereafter. But hey, we wouldn't be able to do all of this. Well, we are doing all of this, but we wouldn't be able to do it with your National Shooting Sports Foundation and other organizations in place. But we're happy to be affiliated with NSSF. That they were voted the most effective trade association in 2025, and we're pretty excited about that. And I think we're all in the right place, supporting their efforts to as a trade association, lobby for the right votes there in Congress and in the Senate and at the local levels. Keep supporting them, and hopefully we make it through this mess as gun dealers. So I just talked about the restricted states guide. It has all types of more additional information on there, like permits to purchase requirements. We put black powder on there. We put ammo restrictions, shipping ammo restrictions on there. We tried to add whatever you guys have been calling about for the last 2 or 3 years. We tried to make it ultra complete for you. There's still a couple of things I'm not going to tell you that aren't on there. We can't get them on there, can't fit them, but less important. But if you need more information, please refer to the subsequent state sections to figure out what the chart means, and call us if you still have questions. But we expect to have half the calls on all this crazy stuff that happens when an out-of-state customer either buys something from you online or walks into your store when they're on vacation. So again, because we have updates this morning, we're going to push out to you tomorrow the updated version. It'll have another revised date in the bottom right-hand corner. That's how you can always make sure you have the right version in play and posted in your store and available to the employees. And it's always available. The most current version is usually always available on our website, and we will commit to update that quarterly for you. All right. All right, coming to location near you. We're on the road again. JC, let's see, I'm traveling in May, doing the ATF, FBI, and SSF. We call it the Roadshow. Great training day. If you can make it to Arizona. In June, our third wheel in this program will be in Springfield. JB will be in Wichita, and then in July, again, our third partner will be out there in Columbus and Indianapolis. I'll be at the NPA meeting, National Pawn Association, in July, Dixie Pawn in September. And JC, you're going to Retailer Range Expo, right?
I will be at the Range Retail Expo down in West Palm Beach, Florida, July 16th and 17th. I think the next slide. Oh,
You'll
contact
get,
Nick's
you'll,
to get to those Nick's retailer days.
yeah, all right. So if you want to attend, don't go through us here. This is it. Take a picture if you want to. Contact Nick's. You have to reserve your seat. Some of the rooms have seating capacity limits. So just email Nick's underscore. That's a little underscore there, a little blue thing. And Nick's underscore events at FBI.gov. Give me your name, phone number, FFL number, how many will be attending. And it's only open to FFLs and their employees. And I have one vendor who's on the phone with us, on the line with us today. We talked. Let me know how many folks you need to get to that meeting over there in Kansas, and I'll make sure you guys get in. All right, we have no update on the NICS programs where they said they were going to be rolling out as part of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. We have no update on the stolen firearm database. And we have no updates on when you can use NICS to background check your employees. otherwise known as firearm handler checks. So nothing to go forward. And our Nick's friends are saying they're waiting, waiting, waiting. What do you want to put money on that one, JC? When do you think?
No, I do not.
All
I
right.
every time I turn around, it's oh, we're gonna have it next month. Yeah, okay. I'll
Yeah.
believe it when I see it.
All right, guys and girls, you know the game here. Listen, type a T in your chat box if you think the answer is true, and an F if you think it's false. All right, and away we go. Test your knowledge, and hopefully you get 100% on this little quiz. All right, customers taking pictures of guns in your store can be indicative of possible straw purchase activity. True or false?
Bunch of truths. Very good.
All right. Yeah,
We always
taking
tell.
pictures.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
pictures, no video. You're buying a firearm. Pay attention.
All right. Unfinished handgun frames and fire control units should be included in multiple handgun reporting form 3310.4. Unfinished handgun frames and FCUs get reported. True.
Mostly false. There's a few truths in there. That is false. That's correct. Frames and FCUs are considered just that, frames. So those are not required to be reported as a multi-sale. They are not completed handguns yet. So
And the category other. So they're
other, yes, category
not
other.
handguns, other. All right. You should always provide a thumb drive copy of your A&D electronic bound book to the ATF when they inspect you. You should always do that.
Mostly falses. I have a couple people switching their answer. False. It is not required.
They're going to ask for it.
They are going to ask for it,
But if you run into a jam, call us. If anything, JC, what do we want to give them, if anything?
we want to give it to them in a PDF, printable PDF format. And typically we tell you to give them the open dispositions in one printout and then the closed dispositions in another. That way the open dispositions, they can conduct your inventory, and the closed dispositions are going to bump it up against your 4473s.
Yep. All right. Puerto Rico. I love this. I get this question every week. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory and therefore should be listed as a foreign country on Form 4473, Box 11 for place of birth. If I'm born in Puerto Rico, I list it as a foreign country. True or false?
Mostly false. There's a couple truths in there. False. Puerto Rico is U.S. territory. You would list it as a U.S. city and state. Uh, San Juan, PR is acceptable. San Juan, Puerto Rico is also acceptable. Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, etc. Those are not foreign countries.
Yeah. And
Yes, you are
sometimes,
you are correct there, Yowie Outdoors. You don't list anything the customer does. Thumbs up to you on that one.
yeah. And, places like Guam, if they were born on military base in Guam, list the military base as the city of Guam. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. When a firearm is shipped but fails to reach its destination, the receiving FFL must file the missing known theft loss report. True or false?
False, 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 false. Correct. That is false. It's the shipping. Make sure you guys are communicating too. We kind of emphasize that a lot. If you're shipping stuff to another FFL, make sure you're communicating that FFL. Number one, that they're okay receiving it. It helps a lot, and it lets them know that there's a firearm on its way.
It also eliminates confusion about returns and restricted types of firearms in that state. Always make that call. Keep the other FFL happy. Yeah. All right. If my customer's date of birth is wrong on the photo ID, but if it's wrong on the photo ID, it's okay to use the incorrect date of birth when processing a background check as long as they match.
Falses, 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 falses.
Believe it or not, we get this question regularly. The same thing with last names or the misspelling of names on ID. Just because it's on the ID doesn't mean you can use it.
Yeah. Let's hope this real ID thing fixes some of this.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know how they get that wrong, but okay.
Yeah. It's ATF legal to sell handgun ammo to someone under 21 as long as he or she proves they actually own a long gun that is chambered in handgun caliber.
What do we got? What do we got? We got a bunch of falses. Good job. Bunch of falses, falses, falses. It's ATF legal to to sell handgun ammo to someone under 21 as long as he or she proves they actually own a long gun that is chambered in handgun caliber. Yes, that is true, folks. You ask them, what is the intended use? Years ago, it was an unusual thing that you would have ammunition that could be used in either, and it was typically 22. But nowadays, with 45s and 9 millimeters and everything being, um, you know, used in rifles and such, it's a lot less unusual. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and you're not gonna, you can document this someplace in box 32 if you want, and you do sell a 19-year-old 9 millimeter ammo for his carbine. I mean, there's lots of them out there. I got one. So, but make a note in box 32. You don't have to document, you're not required to document anything, but at least show that you have a program in place to verify you're not intentionally violating the law. It's legal to return a repaired firearm to a customer if their ID is expired. It's legal to return a repaired firearm to a customer if their ID is expired.
I got a bunch of falses and trues on that one. That is true. You're actually not even required to see their ID. If you know the individual and you're returning the firearm to them, the ID isn't, nothing is required as far as the ID or anything else for that matter.
Just in and out from the same person. Lastly, it's legal to ship a repaired firearm directly back to a customer's house in another state who previously shipped it to me. True or false? It's legal to ship a repaired firearm directly back to a customer in another state who previously shipped it to me.
Falses and trues. That is true, folks. You can ship a firearm to an FFL as a non-licensee and for repairs, warranty work, whatever, service. And the same holds true for the FFL. They can return it to the same person through the mail, which to whom they received it from.
Yeah, you said mail JC, but not through USPS if it's a handgun, right?
If it's a handgun, you cannot send it USPS. It has to go through a
But,
common carrier.
yeah, that's the only challenge on this one, guys. And the reason we bring it up, we're getting a lot of calls on this. You don't have to ship it to an FFL in another state, but it seems like UPS or USPS and FedEx have all types of restrictions going into play. So we can't help you with that, but we can tell you it's okay to ship direct.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, guys. Okay, we're going to promote training, education, and knowledge. It's free. Heck, why not do it? Courses.fflcacademy.com. You can also get to it right from the top of our FFL Consultants webpage. It's right at the top. It says enroll here. It's free, guys. Why not do it? And we've got the Colorado firearms dealer training right here for your July 1st deadlines, guys. Colorado. Right, not only use it, we're approved for the state to have this on here. We're on the state page as well. But hey, you got all this other knowledge here for your employees. Why not take advantage of it? If you're watching this video, we always say watch the Getting Started with FFLC Academy first. It'll answer all the questions on how to process and take all of these courses and get your certificates of completion. And it's FFL. Right. All right, we had some good activities, good performances in the last month since our last webinar. So hey, here's some perfect inspections by the ATF and by us. So hey, Alan, Trish, Charles, Mike and team, you know who you are. Jaime, twice. Jaime, you had 2 stores, perfect, outstanding. Congratulations to your teams. Naz and Joe. All of you had fabulous ATF no violations inspections, nothing to worry about, at least for a few years. Thank you for being good students. And then, hey, Rick over in Kansas, it was a pleasure being with you guys for a day. Sebastian in PA and Patricia, you guys did great. And that's what we hope all of you do is take this knowledge and run with it. And hey, here's a reminder, if you have problems, call us. JC talked all through that. Yeah, we're here for you, supported by the NSSF. Again, your premier trade association to help you stay in business and avoid issues, specifically these issues. We used to call these the 11 deadly sins. We're just calling them the ATF critical violations. To JC's presentation, nothing has changed except zero tolerance. These rules, these critical violations were there before, they were the deadly sins, and they will have the same impact in your inspections, an inch short of losing your license immediately. Again, you will wind up with a warning letter, warning violations, warning conference rather, if you get messy in any of these areas. So please, please, please use that form as a training guide. It's also available as a download from our website. Print it, post it, share it. We talked about the NSSF a lot today. Not only owning SHOT Show and being a trade association and influencing, that's a good word, influencing politicians to vote correctly for the Second Amendment, industry, and rights. They've already spent $1.8 million, way ahead this quarter, first quarter of 2025. Look how much your dues and your membership fees and all the money is donated by the big guys from Benelli and Sig and Ruger and Remington and Hornady and everybody else out there donating as members of the NSSF. We hope you are too. That money is going towards lobbying efforts. We need them now more than ever, guys. So if you're thinking of giving to anybody, we'd like to point you in the direction of the National Youth Shooting Sports Foundation. Just go to the website, nssf.org, to find out more. JC, what's happening at that Retail Range Expo in West Palm Beach, is it?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of deep discounts coming towards you here. JB put those up on the screen. NSSF is offering a wide array of promotional discounts if you all are interested in attending. It's a lot of great information. You get some one-on-one time with us, obviously. That's awesome. I'm actually doing a presentation on tying in compliance focus into your sales process. But there's a lot of other great education sessions. And also, it's kind of like a mini shot, so you get a little bit more intimate time with the solution providers in our space to ask them questions. The Retail Range Expo is great for somebody who wants to grow their business, who wants to go into different areas of our business and expand, such as, opening a range, etc. So it's a good time down there for a couple days and a lot of opportunity and mix and mingle and network. So come on down to West Palm Beach.
Yep. Go see JC, bring your questions, get intimate, get educated. And there's a lot of information. If you go online and look at the agenda, again, 2 for 1. I mean, you can't beat that. I've never seen that. 2 for 1 in Florida at a convention. Secondly, is the agenda is focused a lot on marketing, AI. A lot of these tools, all of you can use nowadays. We use them now. We have to learn how to use them, how to expedite and improve and enhance all of our marketing capabilities, whether it be internet or anything else we're putting out there, blogs, etc., emails. I tell you, they're doing a lot on AI and marketing education. So check out the agenda. Might be the place to go there and get that education. We talk about this all the time. Got PRM. If you guys want any more information, how you can stay compliant, how we can come out for a mock audit, how you can get the NSSF Premium Retail Merchandise Protection Legal Defense Fund in place. Hey, give us a call. It's still $2 a day, $2.05 a day. If you've had us out there before, you can get us out again once a year for $9.99. NSSF picks up the rest. Call us, find out how, get us scheduled, and we are ready for your questions.
Bring
Woohoo!
them on, JB. Bring them on.
All right, you ready, JC?
I
All
am
right,
ready.
we got a lot of you on here. This is probably, I don't know how many questions we got. We got a lot. But we're going to run through them quick. If you still got them, type them into that chat box.
Yep.
And here we go from Scott. He says on eCheck, there's an option to add another number under the DL number. What should that be used for? I think
You
he's
know what?
referring to alternate forms of photo ID, John.
Yeah, I think so too. But if you send us a screenshot of that, we'll get you a specific answer. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think, it's got to be alternate ID, but I'm not seeing it, so I have to look at it to tell you. So send me an email with it, a screenshot of that, and we'll get you an answer. But I think it's alternate ID use.
And the alternate IDs can be a passport, a state issued photo identification. And in fact, it's any government issued photo identification.
Yeah.
Okay. And the problem is you just have to have the components or the elements of the required identification. So you might need something else for line 26B for address or name supplementation, but all of that is any government issued photo ID. All right. Um, Dan says, I record Nick's contact info into box 32. There used to be a place to add it, but it has been gone for some time. Is this correct to document in box 32? And I think he's talking about the operator information.
Say the question again.
Yeah, Nick's operator. Remember, they used to have the operator ID information on
Oh,
there.
oh, oh, when you call, you're still calling in. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you can certainly put that in box 32 if you'd like. You know, if you're not electronic yet with Enix, they're really pushing folks that direction, and less resources are being devoted to that call-in. So, you may want to consider getting that Enix set up so you can just run background checks very easily and conveniently via the web.
Yeah. And if you're using Enix, you have all the information there in the screen. Too many calls today. You have all the information there in Enix to document your activities for every background check submittal. So you should be fine as long as you are understanding of Enix. If you have problems with Enix, let us know. All right, Seth is looking to start his FFL 07 JC. He's in an HOA that does not permit businesses. I plan on having no traffic to my home, and there are tons of people running their businesses from their houses. I'd like to give it a try for my home. How are the agents who inspect on HOAs? Do they require permission from HOAs? And the answer is yes.
Yes, they do. HOAs do play a role, and they will look at the what the heck is that thing
So
called? The
the HOA,
charter.
the commitment, so they
Yeah, the charter for the HOA. So be aware of that. There are certain situations I would tell you reach out. Let's have a phone call so I can probably prep you accordingly for that conversation. They'll call the HOA as well and have a conversation with them, and the HOA does have say in what happens. So reach out via email. You've got our contact information, and we'll talk you through it and see how bad it is.
yeah. And Seth, we've helped people in HOAs actually get their license pertinent, depending on promises of restricted activities and deliveries and different things. So we could talk more. Give us a ring.
Yep.
In fact, JC is your licensing expert. Just give JC a ring. All right, it's busy out there today. If you guys are calling, you're not on a webinar, so don't call me while I'm on a webinar. All right, Scott says, do you give the IOI your AD bound book if you're still using paper, or do copy the pages?
If you're still using paper,
Yeah,
no, you give them your bound book.
yeah,
They'll
yeah.
require it. Yeah. If you're still writing, just doing a true physical bound book, you let them see their bound book.
Yeah, Scott, they're not allowed to leave with it, but they can sit there all day with it for the
Yep.
duration of the inspection. Yep. Yowie Outdoors says, you mentioned FFL Academy. It was not on the slide. Do you have a link to that? Yeah, we did. FFLs. Just go to FFL Consultants right at the top of the homepage. You'll see enroll in the academy. The direct website is courses.fflcacademy.com. All right. Um, all right, thanks, Randy. Ed Spawn says, what about selling ammunition to immigrants?
Um, Immigrants or non-immigrants? That would be
Not,
the question.
uh,
Immigrants, if they're a green card holder, if they're seeking to be a resident or a permanent resident here, then it's no different than anyone else. Non-immigrant aliens, ammunition, firearms can be sold to them, but they have to meet the requirements. If a non-immigrant alien who's here on a visa wishes to purchase ammunition to go hunting or whatnot, they would have to have or be in possession of a valid hunting license.
yeah, and all of you should be checking ID on ammunition if you don't know your customer. So
Right.
a lot of you have state restrictions. A lot of you have age restrictions. So any other questions, give us a call, but you're supposed to be checking ID on ammunition sales. Again, there's no formal process, there's no background check, but the ATF can ask you if you do that, and you have to say yes, of course. Randy says there's a bill on the floor right now to ban all striker fire pistols in California. Yes, Randy, but we don't like DOJ so much we don't talk about California. So, um,
Look,
Yeah,
here's the deal. Uh, if Colorado is doing it, all the other blue states are going to do it. Just get ready for it because
yeah.
that's exactly what's going to happen.
And again, guys, the combat to that is vote, support your NSSF, vote for the politicians in your state that are going to make the right decisions for you. Be careful of what they tell you versus what they do. That happened here in Colorado. We had a lot of Republicans who wound up not supporting the Second Amendment bill, so anti-gun bill. So, all right. Is the new restricted states guide uploaded? I can only get the one from 11/19. Yes. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, it was included in your link today in the invites. So go look back to the links you got today. Again, this is last minute stuff from the attorneys. Again, we got another update this morning, so we'll be pushing out via email to you today by 3 o'clock, the last newest version. It'll be dated from May 11th. So make sure you got that. And it will be on our website today or tomorrow. All right. So we're happy to bring that to you guys. Just do us a favor. We put a lot of time, money, and effort into that. Don't go publicize it anywhere. We found that floating around to people who, we hope they're not selling it, but we're the only ones who do that, and we do it for you. All right. Juan says, what about custom work like Cerakoting, engraving, and other refinishes? I'm not sure what Juan's exact question
I think
was.
he's asking manufacturing. If you're doing it pre-commerce, pre-sale, it could be considered manufacturing. If you're doing it post-commerce, in other words, after the sale, then it falls into gunsmithing. Again, to JB's point, if you need to clarify that with us, give us a call or drop a little bit more information into the chat.
Yeah. For all of you who have issues with shipping, yeah, we have a short list. It's shipping guns is Ship Outdoors, UPS, FedEx, USPS. And there's Ship My Gun, I think is the other one, shipoutdoors.com. There are some restrictions, so read through their websites and see what you can and can't do with those. And RJ says great rates too. Thanks, RJ. Um, and like I said, we have a list if you want to send us an email request. If we, RJ says, if we are approved for e-storage, should we export our 4473s or is the cloud enough?
I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'm going to answer this. I love this topic. Guys, I'm going to tell you, we're dealing with a real mess from a couple of weeks ago where it was all cloud storage and they had no audit process in place. And they're probably, even with the new laws, they're probably going to lose the license because it was so bad. And we're just waiting for the other foot to drop on the ATF because they've been in trouble for a couple months now. But if you've got cloud storage and you're perfect and you're reviewing transfers twice, somebody's looking at that screen, that computer twice before the gun leaves. And the third time at the end of the week, maybe at the end of the month, somebody's going in there and doing an audit program. We do that as well. If we have remote access, we have clients we go in and do that for. There's a fee, obviously, but we sit and scroll through those, which is a painstaking ordeal, but must be done. Then you do not have to print your paper. But RJ, I'm going to tell you, we had somebody with cloud storage about 6 months ago. They were so bad they had to go print everything and make corrections, post transfer corrections. They wound up putting almost, I don't know, 1,100 forms in their file cabinet, new file cabinets. So there's benefits, there's pros and cons to cloud storage. You just want to make sure you guys don't get revoked or in trouble because you're not doing everything you have to do with cloud storage. Did I miss anything, JC, on cloud storage?
No, no. We all know how you feel about electronic storage. Look, here's the bottom line with electronic storage. You just have to make sure you're uptight. It's a little bit more tedious for the IOIs. You need to recognize that. And also because of the ruling, the way it's written, or rulings, because there's multiple, the way it's written is anything that you've done to, fix, correct, whatever. There's a new version of the 4473 that is saved. So we've had situations where we've gone in and inspected FFLs and for a mock inspection, and they've touched forms 13, 16, 19 times. And I've got to ask the question, why are you touching the form that many more times after the transfers occurred? So you really have to have a very uptight compliance program and protocols in place to ensure that when you click done, complete with that form, it's done. You don't want to find yourself in that situation where you're making 19 corrections to a 4473 after the fact. It's gonna throw up all kinds of red flags. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. RJ also asked if we had approved e-storage and we told the ATF we were using one company but ended up changing the company we used, do we have to notify ATF?
No, no, you've already notified them as long as you've kept a backup of the provider and such. They anticipated that was going to happen.
Yeah. Yowie Outdoors says, oh, it might be Bowie Outdoors says, for automated systems, is there any talk about limitations regarding not auto-filling fields like license number, but instead relying on the employee not to type it in incorrectly? The talk would be revising that stupid decision. So, JC, I believe certain states I allow they allow the scanning of the driver's license
Uh-huh.
to be auto inserted into the fields, but there is a verification
Yeah, there's
with
a
a,
mechanism to verify the information that's being entered. The ruling states that it must be something selectable. There has to be some sort of physical input by the individual, whether whatever side of the computer we're on, whether it's the FFL or if it's the customer, whether it's a checkbox or an accept or something like that, where they give the options to review it and they accept it or deny it or whatever the case may be. Verify it. But there has to be some sort of mechanism that they physically have to do.
next,
Like
what is the
selecting a
policy?
date. You can't auto-populate a date, but if you pop up a calendar that just has today's date on it and the user selects it, boom, that's user selectable.
Yeah, has to be a two function. Has to have some involvement with the licensee on a transferor or transferee to select the option to fill the
Right.
box. Right? And that's the stuff we look at when we look at all these software packages, guys, that might be compliant and might not be compliant. All right, next, what is the policy of rerunning NICS checks if we found a customer or employee made mistakes upon entering the info into ID fields? And I would assume, JC, this is let's talk about pre and post transfer.
Repeat that question.
Updating NIC, if I
Oh,
incorrect information into NICS pre and post transfer.
so it really depends on where you're at in the process. If it's still open, pending, delayed type situation, you can actually call or make a request through the Enix. There's a mechanism in there that you can select to cancel the background check, or you can call them and cancel it and rerun it. I would not, if you've initiated the background check and if it's already received a proceed. As long as it's within 24 hours, you can still call and cancel it and then rerun it. If it's beyond that, then we have a different problem. So, um, you know, so within the 24-hour window, you can call and cancel it. If it's beyond that, um, I would recommend void canceling the 4473 and redoing the 4473, but keeping that original 4473 on file and just putting in box 32 what happened. Incorrect information was sent to Nix. Something simple like that, but keep it on file.
And again, guys, with all of these questions and answers, I mean, we're giving you quick answers. If you need 10 more sentences on any topic, you can always call or text us.
Yep.
All right, Tony says, what is that ruling for that ID scanning verification?
There is no ruling on it. Again, if you look at 2022-1, that is all about the electronic, and 2016-2 is the other ATF ruling. If you read those, it won't specifically say something about scanning. It says what's required of the application to be compliant.
All right. GC, I think that's all the questions.
Well, how do you do?
If we missed anything, guys, retype it now. We got a few more minutes. But if not, we'll see you guys in June. We'll put a date out soon. We'll send you that updated compliant restricted states Yeah, this afternoon. The replay will be available at the end of the week. And appreciate all you sticking with us. And thank you for being loyal followers of our FFLC Consultants fan club. All right, JC, we'll catch you later.
All right. Y'all take care. Thanks for
See
joining
you,
us.
see you guys.